Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Vision. I am your host, Gina Perrin, along with Sybil Wolfstein. We know that there is little information out there about windows and doors, so we are here to make you a fellow window and door nerd. We also want to inspire fellow salespeople that are on the road on their way to their next appointment. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the daily grind with us. Welcome to the family. Today, we are talking all about wood-clad windows, the what, the how, and the why they may be the perfect solution to your house. So let's jump right into it. Sybil, how are you today?
I'm doing amazing. How are you doing today?
I am great.
Good.
And I'm excited because wood-clad is one of my favorite products to talk about.
Definitely.
So let's get into it. First of all, what is wood-clad?
So wood-clad is a particular type of product where it's a solid wood window encased in an aluminum exterior shell. And the reason for that is for protecting the window against any type of weathering. Wood products are susceptible to the elements, so it helps to protect that window, give it a really nice finish. They apply a Kynar paint finish, lots of different options, and it's a really great product. I can actually show you a cutaway. So it will kind of explain the construction of the window a little bit better, give our customers a visual of what they're in for when they're talking about wood and wood-clad products.
Okay, so to be clear, so for the customers that currently have old wood windows in their house, they're like rotting, peeling on the exterior of the house because they have been susceptible to all of the elements. And they're like, I don't want wood again because this is what happens.
Yeah.
How I explain it is that clad is like a skin,
Yes.
an exterior skin on top of your solid wood window. So you still would be getting a solid wood product and it would just have like a protective skin or clad on the exterior so that it doesn't fall apart in the elements today, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. And actually you could see that with this cutaway right here, that extruded aluminum exterior shell really helps to protect it. Still looks just like a solid wood window. So unless you are a super nerd like us, when you're looking at it, it looks like a solid wood window. You would not know that that's an aluminum extrusion applied to the outside, but it does give you better weathering, better warranty, and just an upgraded look and feel if you still want a solid wood type of product, but you want the warranty to match. So Lincoln actually offers a solid wood product inside and out. So it's more expensive to have a wood-clad product. So it's a little bit cheaper for it to be solid wood, but again, it's going to be a little more susceptible to the elements. It's a wise idea to go with the cladding if you can. Some historical districts, they won't allow it, but yeah, for the most part, our clients go clad.
So there's two wood products that you can get. Either all wood, so still has wood on the exterior, there's no cladding whatsoever.
Right.
And then there's your wood-clad product.
Yes.
And I would say that probably 90% of wood replacements are clad, correct?
Yeah, I would say that's right. I mean, you recently did a solid wood job in San Marino. Historical houses may call for that, but generally speaking, if you don't have to go solid wood, you're going to want to go with the clad.
Correct. So yes, San Marino, my client there, the city absolutely does not allow cladding.
Yeah.
So they're very particular that they want everything to stay looking a one way. So those clients have no choice but to go with just a wood product. Now there will be some maintenance on the exterior then, but wood can last a very long time as long as it's maintained.
Yes. As long as you take care of it and, you know, it's not getting a lot of direct sun, it will probably last quite a while.
Right. But because cladding is the majority of what goes in, that is the topic of our podcast today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How in the world do they apply that cladding onto the wood?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know much about the actual application process as I do the actual cladding itself. So when you're looking at the cladding, like on this cutaway, you'll notice it's pretty thick. They use a very heavy duty extrusion, so it's not going to dent very easily. It's not going to have issues as far as how it's looking on the exterior. There are manufacturers that use a much thinner extrusion for the aluminum exterior. So think of like a Coke can. It's a rolled aluminum, so when they apply it, the corners, you can see where they overlap. There's some dents. It's very easily dented, so if you're not careful when you're installing or the gardener happens to kick up a rock, you might have a dent in the exterior of that window. And if you're spending the type of money that you're spending to upgrade with these type of products, you really want to choose something that has that heavy duty extruded aluminum on the outside. Now, we do offer Windsor and Lincoln, which both have that heavy duty extrusion on the exterior. They apply it a little bit differently. You know, just looking at the seams, I could tell you which window is which. And those are some of the things that we'll go out over when we come into a house and see what our customers prefer in terms of like exterior color options and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so getting into color, Windsor offers 18 standard colors.
So I think they may even have more now.
So you get to choose from a ton of different colors with cladding that it already comes done. But if the customer down the road wants to paint that cladding,
it's not recommended. I mean, you can paint most anything even though it's not recommended, right? The thing about these products is they do come, whether it's Lincoln or Windsor, with that Kynar paint finish. It comes with a really great warranty. It's applied at the manufacturer. You would actually know a lot about it. You saw them actually applying that at their plant in Iowa and Windsor's factory. So that process is very cool. You're not getting that anywhere but that manufacturer plant. Similar to like how a car, you could paint a car after you get a brand new car off the lot, but why would you want to? That's the similar type of exterior paint that we're talking about here.
Exactly. And on that paint finish on the cladding, they offer a 20-year warranty on it.
Correct.
All the manufacturers.
They do. And so like here's an even better, closer up picture of a wood-clad window. So again, this is Windsor. It's that heavy-duty extruded aluminum exterior. Like you can see the thickness of it. You can see how it's constructed and applied to the exterior. So like see this seam right here? See how clean that looks? You don't see like silicone squeeze out. It's just really beautiful looking product. Again, if you're not a super window nerd, when you're looking at it from the outside, it looks just like solid wood. And then they have all of these different options available. So there's standard color options. These are all standard. They have feature colors, which are not that much more expensive. They even have textured options. I refer to wood and wood-clad products like the Lamborghini of windows. You can really customize it. Even for the former governor of California, Pete Wilson, he wanted a very specific color. His house called for a very special color. We sent a paint chip to Lincoln and they matched it exactly. So the ability to customize is just endless when it comes to wood-clad.
So when I come into a house and we're going to be talking about wood, I let them know right up front that you are going to be making a lot of decisions.
Yes.
So it's fun, but they don't realize like ahead of time how customizable. Like I tell them, you are ordering custom furniture. It is literally like building custom furniture. So you're not only picking the hardware, you're picking the colors, you're picking the wood species, and we'll get into all that. But just know that it is literally like if you build your favorite car online, you know, it's like,
interior finish and rims and the whole 9
Do you want
yards.
the Bluetooth? Do you want the upgraded speakers?
The thing is, cars are like sexy, right? People they like are aware of some of these options already when they step on a lot. When we come out, they're like, what is available? And you're like, I have all the solutions.
I have all the things I can give you. And we're going to be here all day picking them.
Pretty much. but it is super fun to be able to open a client's eyes to that capability, right? Because sometimes they Google on their own or they start to research and they don't understand some of the really cool options that are out there for them.
And I've talked about that before. It's like, I think I know all these things and the client thinks they know a lot of things about wood-clad. The problem is there is so many options that unless you're in the business, it can get really, really, really tricky.
Yes.
But if you are looking for new wood windows, it is so much fun. The options out there today, as opposed to a lot of them have the original wood windows that have been in since the 40s, 50s. I mean, we've done some very, very old homes. And back then it was all the options that you have today. So speaking of the colors, I have never done a yellow wood window.
Interesting enough, we just ordered a burnt pumpkin door for our Orange County showroom. We actually never sold the burnt pumpkin. And when the rep came in to do a product knowledge training, they're like, we sell very few burnt pumpkin, but it's such a cool option. And that's the point, is they have so many choices to choose from. If you really have super unique house or something that's really Spanish style from 1920 that you want to do a very specific way with a certain color, they can accommodate whatever option you're looking for.
Okay, so if we can go back to that first picture. So on vinyl, we talk about the retro fin. Now, wood can be installed retrofit or new construction, just like on the vinyl, but it's a little bit different of an application. So can you walk us through the retro fin that would be on a wood window?
So actually, Windsor created a retro fin for us. They came out, they met with our team, and they actually designed a brick mold option that works as a retro fin. So if you're not a complete and total window nerd, a piece of trim that allows you to go into an existing opening if you have aluminum windows. They also designed a smaller frame altogether. So the smaller frame allows you to go inside an existing opening without doing construction, without breaking stucco. You can just put that window directly inside that existing opening correctly. Makes it a lot easier for homeowners looking to upgrade, a lot less construction, a lot less cost, especially with some of these houses that are historical, older. You want to preserve the look as much as possible without having to do massive construction. So it's very cool. These manufacturers, it's like a whole new world to them. A lot of the East Coast application is different from the West Coast application. So it's very fun to work with them and see them design products that work very well in our market.
I'm from the East Coast, so I know all about that. If you currently have the old wood windows and you are looking to put new wood windows in.
Well, this one is the governor. This is steel casement. We did use coil in that application. So see how put in and then the coil.
I have a client asking me like, well, what happens to my sills? and then the wood that's going around them. So a couple things, but we don't have to touch that at all.
Here's a perfect example of an existing wood window. So you could still see that frame in the stucco. The stucco is not disrupted at all.
Right.
This is the Lincoln Revitalized product, specifically made to go into an existing wood window, finish off an application that gives that customer an upgraded window, upgraded look, but not a lot of fuss and mess.
Right. So their sill is still there intact. And the wood that was going around the existing old one, where you're pointing there on the end. Yeah. So I always tell them, just get a nice good paint the sill and paint the wood around, because you're going to have this beautiful brand new window inside of it.
Yeah.
So if it's time for them to be painted.
And in a lot of applications, we can also remove and replace the sill without having to break the stucco or do any massive constructions.
If their sill is completely rotted out or termite damage, we can just remove and replace that.
And of course, if they're looking to expand an opening or do something really different, we can do that too. It's just most homeowners really don't want to go through the hassle if they don't need to.
Yeah, 100%. That is gorgeous.
And it's got those grids on top of the glass. So your customers can Google and find a lot of different options. It's just like cars. Like, you might find a Bose sound system on this brand of car, but you're not going to find that on another brand of car. The grids are a perfect example of that. Like, these grids are a putty grid. They don't do what they call an OG exterior grid. For window nerds, that's a scallop type grid that's very detailed and a historical type of product. So that may be what's required in certain areas, certain cities, and that's why you need someone like us to come out and actually explain that may not be available with this manufacturer, but it's available with another one. The grid options, though, they go on for days, and that's just the grids. There's a whole board this big that has a gamut of different options, and that's just one manufacturer. This pattern is very common. It's called colonial, but you can customize grids. You can have them in bends. You can do all kinds of really cool stuff with that.
Okay, but grids, they are expensive.
And diamond grids?
Forget
the word
it.
Diamond, just forget it. Yeah, but they're diamond grids. They can cost more than the windows.
100%.
Yeah.
The grids, they come out costing more than the windows. But as I tell all my clients, if you have money to spend, I'm your girl.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will help you spend it. And then we can go for a really nice lunch afterwards. But it is kind of shocking. So to explain, the old wood windows, when people have grids, those grids are actually dividing the pieces of glass. Yeah. Literally. Yeah. So if I put my fist through one of those squares of glass, your fist would just go through that one pane of glass.
Yes.
It's not like that today. So today it is one sheet of glass, and the grids are there to simulate a divided look. You are not just paying for one piece of grid. You're paying for three. Right. One that sits on top of the glass inside the house. Then they have a layer between the two panes of glass.
Yeah.
And then the grid that sits on top of the glass on the exterior.
Exactly.
So if you think about it, it's like you're paying for three layers of grids.
Right here, you could see it's on the interior of the home. It's also on the exterior. And then there is something in between to make it look like it's separating each pane of glass. So it gives you that look, but without actually having to individualize all the panes.
But grids are what, in general, that we think about with wood windows. The typical old wood windows have grids, so it gives that nice character.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's funny how they are on opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
The customers that do wood and wood-clad, it's either your ultra-modern, this type of modern farmhouse type of look, ultra-modern, and people think it's aluminum or think it's steel. It's not. It's a wood-clad product, or traditional colonial type product. It seems like they're on two ends of the spectrum, but generally speaking, that's where our customers are going to be looking, either ultra-modern or totally traditional.
I literally have people show me a picture like this, and they say, I want these aluminum windows, and I'm like, that's wood.
Yeah.
Wood has come very, very far.
Absolutely. Yeah, that super contemporary look.
Super contemporary. So they can make the frames very, very thin.
Yeah.
Or they can get them in that traditional thicker frame.
Like you're saying, that ultra modern, really thin frame. Aluminum products, unless you're looking at something like Fleetwood, which is very expensive performance line, it's generally speaking not going to meet energy code requirements. What's really nice about the wood-clad products, wood is a natural insulator, are extremely good. So they do meet and exceed all those requirements. Very energy efficient. They have huge size limitations. In fact, I have a picture to show you something kind of funny.
So for everyone listening, meeting energy efficiency codes in the state is important for city permitting, because if you want to purchase a product that does not meet those codes, it will not pass city inspection.
Correct. So what's really funny funny is some of these houses that we work on, like you look at them from the street and they look like normal. You walk up to them and everything is supersized. So the sconce is like 6 feet tall and the windows are like 10 feet wide. This particular project, we sold Lincoln, and the window was so big. It was probably 800 or 900 pounds. You can see the manpower that it took just to get that window to where we were going to install it. So you can see that right here. This customer was having just a little bit of work done. So if you see that like the ground is completely dug up, that's actually their pool. They didn't like where it was, so they were moving it. They were also ripping out the bottom, putting in huge multi-sliding doors, those big windows upstairs.
So that window does not appear to be that big from that picture.
When you look at this, it looks totally normal. Like that's not too big. And then you walk up to it and you're like, oh my God, I need 8 guys to be able to lift the thing up and move it. But what's really cool is those wood-clad products, they have huge size limitations. They can make ginormous windows and doors. They can do radius units, geometric type of styles. Anything you can pretty much think of, they can do in wood-clad.
Again, very customizable. Talking about wood species. What are you talking about? Okay, so you actually get to pick what type of wood that you want your windows to be. The majority, I'd say over 90% of what we do in California, people want the interior to be painted. They want it white
or black.
Most colors that are used.
I would say 90%.
Then that wood species is going to be pine. And for everyone listening, just so you know, pine takes paint the best. So if you're going to have wood windows that are painted, pine is what we want to pick.
Now, if you're staining,
we're going to get into a whole other wood species, which is fun because if you're staining it, you get to pick from all of these.
Pine is definitely the most common. When you are getting it painted from the factory, it will always be pine. I've had customers express concern, well, pine is a soft wood. I don't know if that's great. That's the beauty of a clad product is you get that exterior shell. You don't have to worry about anything on the outside. On the interior, unless you plan on your dog jumping up and scratching the wood, which by the way is going to happen to any of the wood species if they're strong enough, it's really going to be rare that you're going to get any kind of damage on the inside, whether it be pine or it's oak. We also have a full gamut of different options. I have had clients do mahogany doors. They look absolutely gorgeous. So Lincoln does offer a lot of different choices for the interior. If you really need something special, I had a customer who had an office. It was all mahogany. I was like, it's not going to work if you put a white or a black door. It's just not going to look right. So they really allow for whatever the situation calls for.
I did a whole house in knotty alder.
Beautiful. Now be careful with the knots.
Yes.
Yeah. So I do always warn people, it is knotty. It's not smooth, so you will have those actual divots in the wood itself.
Well, you're buying a live species. It's gorgeous, but it's not manufactured, so it's not all going to look exactly the same.
Right. Yeah. It's unique.
Yeah. And it's one of the reasons that we come out because being in the home and seeing like how the house is decorated and the vibe that they're going for makes it easier to fit that product into the home.
Well, we always want to be accurate. We always insist on taking a look because if somebody calls in, well, I just want a window. Well, a wood-clad window is going to be a lot different price than a vinyl window. And the options are different. Like you said, you want diamond grids on that? That's going to be more than double the price. So we do want to make sure our clients know those options and then understand exactly what the price point is.
Yeah. And for me, one of the things that I really focus on when I'm in the home is how do you want your home to feel? And they'll be like, what are you talking about? I said, well, if I put all aluminum in here, it's more of a cold feeling, right? Aluminum's kind of cold and they don't realize their openings, their windows and their doors and their decor, everything gives off a feeling. If you do a house in wood, the house is going to feel a lot warmer. The darker the stain, it's going to feel even warmer. So if the house vibe is that very warm vibe, it's going to go perfectly. If your house is more of that contemporary that we're talking about, and you've got cement floors, which is awesome, totally different house.
Just depends what you're going for.
We want the feeling of the windows to match the house.
Most definitely.
And people are always like, oh yeah, like they don't think about it because we do it day in and day out and they're maybe doing windows once in their life.
We have that versatility. We don't mind. Like we carry a full range of options so that we can do that with our clients. We don't press upon them, oh, this is the only product that's available for you. No, we have a ton of different options, like what feel do you want for your house?
Also, so that everyone knows, this wouldn't be recommended, but you could literally put a different product in every opening in your house. We'll do like a mahogany in an office where you said there's like mahogany furniture or whatever.
Absolutely.
And the rest of the house is like pre-finished white on the inside because they want their wood windows to be white on the inside. So you're not stuck to picking one. Again, it's highly customizable.
One thing that we do, I would say more often, is do like an upgraded door. So if people are doing a whole house full of windows and doors, they may choose a wood-clad French door over a vinyl French door. And vinyl French doors are fine, but they may want something that looks a little more upgraded. And that's where you can get to that customization.
That's the most that we see. We will do a whole house.
Unless you're doing the whole house as wood-clad.
Right. Or we do the whole house in vinyl windows and we do the doors in wood-clad. We do that all the time.
Very common.
The pre-finishes. The manufacturer paints them for you, the white or the black. And I believe Windsor has gray now.
I believe so. And they also have stain options. So they brought in very fancy schmancy equipment. I think, did you tour it when you were back at the plant recently?
Yes.
It was pretty awesome, right? I think they paid an enormous amount of money to have that capability.
So you can have the manufacturer stain them on the interior,
they are.
but you just have these options on the stain.
Right.
You can get the windows unfinished and have your stainer do them for you. Let's talk about hardware.
So this is casement and awning. Again, you have your traditional and your contemporary type options.
What is casement?
So casement is a cranking window. Sorry. Nerd just jumps right into the casement
The
part
crank
of it.
out.
But yes, cranking window, very common in larger houses. They tend to have casement configuration. If you're in a bedroom, you need to meet egress. It's a good way to meet egress. By the way, egress is a code that you need to be able to exit or enter the house in the case of a fire. See, there's a lot of different available finish options. If you have a lot of satin nickel hardware, in your kitchen, you really want to match, you can do that, but you don't have to do that on every single window. So you can pick and choose exactly what you like. And what we do is actually build that with you, item by item. Everything is customized. It's not like everything is exactly the same. You don't have that flexibility. You do. And we'll sit there and do it on each and every window. And once people do move forward with us, we actually have a technician come back out and go over those options with them again, because these products are very expensive to manufacture. We don't want to get like the interior finish wrong, the exterior finish wrong. And if you get one of those things wrong, the windows are not going to install correctly.
Yeah. So on the hardware on the casements, for some people are like, I hate casements because they have the old ones. The handle sticks out really far in their house and it stays there. Half the time it's broken off. So now they actually fold down when you're not using them.
Exactly. It's really pretty and it also is very functional. So you just take it out whenever you need to crank it open.
So then to the hung windows. So hung windows are the ones that you lift up.
So there is push out hardware available. So push out hardware is sort of like a door, almost like a lever that you push out. What's nice about that is you get a retractable screen option if you want it. Now, it's expensive and not everybody goes for it, and it also does not retrofit. So again, a lot of details you'd need a nerd to go over with you to make sure that that option is going to work, but it is something that is potentially a solution.
And we do not carry any manufacturers where the casements come into the house.
Yes.
I see that a lot. They're called rabbited casements. They're cool.
Very common, like 1920 houses in LA.
Very, where the casements come into the house. You're not going to get those options today. The casements crank out. So that means the screen is on the interior of your home. The screens don't get trashed from being outside either. They're on the inside. There's something called hung windows, the windows that you actually lift up. So on vinyl windows that we're not talking about today, but on vinyl windows, you have a choice. You can get a single hung or you can get a double hung. Single hung means you can only lift up the bottom and the top stays fixed. That's a lot of what we have. Wood windows, no option to have a single hung.
Nope, double hung
All
only.
wood windows are double hung.
Yeah.
So both operate. That means you do have a full screen. But what I love about the new options on the wood-clad windows, on the hungs, they tilt in for cleaning.
Yeah.
The old ones did not have that. Really great feature. So that means that both of them will tilt in.
Yes.
And clients really love that, especially if you're on like a second story.
Yeah. If you're taking a shower, you want to vent the steam really quickly. That's really a nice feature if you're trying to just air it out.
We can do obscure glass options so people can't see you through them.
And that's on big windows, small windows.
Yeah, if you have no neighbors, put in an entire window, floor to ceiling. We went with a vinyl product because it was in a shower and the rest of the windows were wood. It's totally customizable as to what works for the customer.
Here's one. The customer really wanted ventilation. So one thing about French doors is they don't come with screens. You can get aftermarket screens if you want, but they just don't come from the manufacturer with them. So this customer really wanted to be able to have airflow, but wanted French doors. So they did double hungs next to the doors to be able to ventilate it pretty quickly and have screen option. This is quite a big update for this house. I had that old rock on the outside and they ripped it all off and it looked really cool afterward.
Yeah. And that's
Windsor.
So they do bifolds too.
Yeah, they do bifolds, they do multi-slides, they do pretty much the whole gamut of different products that you can think of. Yeah.
So bifolds are very, very popular right now.
And they actually have see how the panel is a bit thicker? You could do a thinner panel, you could do a thicker panel. So if you're going really contemporary, don't feel like you're just stuck with that thicker panel option. They do have multiple choices there.
And if you look down at the bottom of that, so there is a sill on bifolds or any doors that you would have to step over to. There's something called an ADA sill, and we do those, and that is for the American Disabilities Act. So it's flush to the floor. But here's a warning. So when people ask about that, we always recommend at least a 10-foot overhang on the exterior because you will get water into the house. So while it's really, really cool to have that kind of like indoor, outdoor, no sill to step over, know that that would be a water problem, that could come on in.
Yeah.
But definitely people with the big overhangs and they're over the ocean, they just want that like sleek look. Absolutely available in all those products.
Absolutely.
They're very cool. Love it.
And the multi-sides too are really cool. A lot of that is that new indoor, outdoor, the black on black type feel, the contemporary options with the folding and the multi-sides.
So on the wood on the inside, there's traditional and there's contemporary.
So see the different styles?
There
like
it
that
is.
narrow and then the wide rail. So you can really go contemporary, you can go traditional. And again, those are things that we'll go over when we come out to a house and see exactly what will work with our customers.
So this picture is great. So notice the front door is done as well. One of the things, and sometimes people don't even think about this, is your front door can match to all the wood products.
And look how beautiful that looks.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It all blends. Now, you can see right through this one.
Yeah.
Obviously, the customer didn't care, but there are obscure options so that the front door isn't so wide open. But a lot of times, if you're replacing a whole house in wood-clad, they want the front door to match.
So a lot of the modern farmhouse, they have like a panel at the bottom and cross grid. They have a lot of different options that you can use as a front door to match the rest of your windows and doors as well.
As you can see, this is why it's so important that we come out and we do a full presentation and let you go over all the options with all the homeowners, because there is a lot to choose from and we can really change the style of your house or just make it a whole lot better.
I'm going to nerd out on you for a moment.
Okay.
Just when it comes to hardware alone on doors. So you have the different finishes, right? And you also have the different style of handles. They literally have a legend of which handles can go with which backplates because there's so many different options.
Yeah.
So that's one thing on the door. That's just the hardware. It is a multi-point hardware. It's very high end, but just so clients know, like there's a whole range of different things that are available, and you need somebody to be able to tell you that those options even exist and that those options are available with what you're looking at.
Love it. Thank you so much, Sybil.
Yeah, no, this was great.
This is great.